This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by North Shore Community College. If you have the will to attend college, we have the way for you to earn your degree.
Good morning. This is LCTV News, and I'm Dani Vittori. We have a double lowdown week for you as the founder of Beyond Walls stopped by for a visit, as well as the president and a member of the Goldfish Pond Association. Several instrumental announcements captured the news headlines this week. Here's the news for Friday, May 12th, 2023. It has been over 3 years since former Governor Charlie Baker declared a COVID-19 public health emergency in Massachusetts. That expired yesterday, May 11th, but health officials are warning that just because the emergency is over, COVID is not gone. People should still practice social distancing, wear a mask, and stay home if they are feeling sick, said Lynn Public Health Director Michelle Desmarais. The City of Lynn will no longer offer vaccine clinics, but residents can still get free testing kits from City Hall. Additionally, beginning today, the mask mandate will be lifted, including in hospitals. There are some, such as Massachusetts Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Coalition Executive Director Elizabeth Sweet, who believe that lifting the mask mandate puts immigrants at even greater risk, as many of them are frontline workers in hospitals. Now, health facilities will be responsible for creating their own mask mandates based on risk factors and infection control. A tree planting took place at Cobbett Elementary last Friday the 5th in celebration of Arbor Day. A class of first graders watched as DPW planted a new tree, after which the students could share their thoughts and drawings. Take a look.
Today we celebrated Arbor Day in conjunction with one of our first grade classrooms, Miss Wilson's class, along with the support of DCR, Lynn DPW, in the Mayor's office, specifically community development, along with Park and Recreation. Students saw firsthand exactly a tree being planted, stressing the importance of planting new trees and the benefits of that, giving off oxygen, great for the environment. They beautify this area. So they saw that firsthand. They were able, the students presented a really nice poem and some kind words to the folks that were out here. And I have to say they did an absolutely fantastic job with it. I feel that bringing the community together like this, it really does take a village. Again, we had 23 students out here sharing their thoughts, sharing their ideas, sharing their learning about what they specifically have been learning with growing, planting with seeds. And they really can see that come to fruition today. Again, just final thoughts to the Mayor's office, Lynn Police Department, DCR, Lisa Nerick, Miss Wilson's first grade class, our program specialist, Tim Burt. Again, it takes a community and it takes a village.
Alex Newhell has been nominated for a Tony Award for Best Performance by an Actor in a Feature Role in a Musical for their role in Shucked on Broadway. Newhell is the first non-binary actor to be nominated for a Tony, alongside J. Harrison Ghee, who was also up for his leading role this year. Newhell went to KIPP Academy before attending and graduating from Bishop Fenwick High School, after which they scored a role in Glee. They have performed in a variety of productions, including performing at North Shore Music Theater and Marblehead Little Theater. Newhell has been singing their entire life and is incredibly excited by their nomination. So is their mother, who believes that they love what they do and that all their hard work is paying off. Congratulations. Saturday the 6th, Raw Artworks hosted an art bash at their studio. There was live music, as well as a silent auction to raise money for the organization and the scholarships they provide. Here is more from the event.
Today is a celebration of all of the impact that we do as an organization. It is actually our biggest annual event. This is the event that is bringing all of the supporters and all of the people that really want to support our mission. We have a live auction. The auction is art from our alumni, friends of Raw, artists from the area that have been doing art for many, many years and are very well known and recognized, as well as our staff. We already started to fundraise for this event ahead of time. We have a portion of the event that is called Fund a Kit. So it's a sponsor a kit. There's different levels to it. Depending on the level, you can support art supplies, be at Raw for the entire year. You can support a whole group of students for our expressive art therapy. And so far we have done close to 60,000. And then with the art, we're trying to bring at least $125,000. So we're trying to get there. I think we will. There's good energy in the room, and definitely people that is seeking out great art. This event is important in many different levels because it's been happening for many, many years for our organization. For many people, it's the highlight of their year because it's really where everything comes together. It's not just our mission and the impact that we have in our community, but it's also a great opportunity for creatives to come together. I feel that Lynn right now is in a very special place. There's a momentum happening with the creatives in Lynn, and having opportunities to come together right in our community is priceless. It's really excited to be able to host everyone in our space. Being back in the building is a different feel to it, and it's really, people embrace it because that's where the magic happens.
Jared Nicholson was one of several leaders to sign the Commonwealth Development Compact. In signing this compact, they are committing to a historic 25% diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) evaluation criteria in real estate developments. The compact was created by the Civil Action Project, Boston Society for Architecture, Builders of Color Coalition, and Eastern Bank Foundation. The purpose of this clause is to ensure that everyone in the community is benefiting from new developments as equally as possible, especially minority and women-owned businesses. According to Mayor Jared Nicholson, developments are not equitable in Lynn, and something must be done to change this and support all members of the community. Quote, Lynn's communities of color are a cornerstone of Lynn's story and are key leaders in our local development, end quote. Along with Mayor Nicholson, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, the mayors of Somerville, Cambridge, Salem, and a representative for Mayor Wu of Boston all signed. Also on the 6th, Sweet Sadie's Difference Makers hosted a benefit concert. Proceeds from the event go towards two $1,500 scholarships they award each year, as well as donations to Sarah McIsaac's former high school, who the organization was created in memory of. Here is a clip from the event. On Saturday, May 6th, the Knights of Columbus hosted the second annual Sweet Sadie's Benefit Concert. Organized and put on by Sweet Sadie's Difference Makers, a local nonprofit created in memory of Sarah McIsaac by her brother, whose goal is to provide access to educational and recreational opportunities for those with disabilities.
And I'm the president and founder of Sweet Sadie's Difference Makers, the nonprofit that's in honor of my sister that passed away. We're trying to keep her spirit alive through this nonprofit.
And just quickly explain the concert.
This is the Sweet Sadie's Benefit Concert. We do it each year to raise money in honor of Sarah, and we give money to the 2 scholarships of $1,500 each to North Shore Community College, and about $1,000 to, I think it's called Papa's Rehabilitation Center. It used to be called Mass Hospital School. It was Sarah's high school. So they give money and purchase equipment that they need for the wheelchairs and everything.
For LCTV News, I'm Dani Vittori. North Shore Community College, in collaboration with Lynn Public Schools Interim Superintendent Deb Ruggiero, have launched a new pilot program offering direct admission and $500 scholarships to Lynn High School seniors. This is part of a larger plan to show students that college is an option for them after 75% of seniors did not enroll in a college last year. NSCC and Ruggiero are seeking to make college more accessible, with scholarships being offered to all students, even if they do not qualify for government financial aid, and they can attend the school without even needing to apply. To qualify for the scholarship, students must be enrolled in at least 2 classes at NSCC. For those planning to attend, a kickoff event will be held this upcoming August for students and their families to become more familiar with the campus and the programs they offer. The Lynn DPW put on Lynn School Special Games on Tuesday the 9th. Children with disabilities from all the Lynn Public Schools participated in a variety of activities and were given medals at the end for their effort. Take a look.
The morning of Tuesday, May 9th, 2023 was filled with joy and competition at Manning Field as Lynn Public Schools took part in the 53rd Annual Special Games, a tradition that the Special Education Department and its students participate in year after year. This year's games were also joined by the Lynn Police and Fire Departments, along with many of its counselors and Mayor Jared Nicholson.
It is such an honor to be here. Thank you all so much for turning out, for all the work that goes into creating this special event.
Helping to fund this event are its sponsors, with the Lynn Rotary Club and Reading Cooperative Bank being this year's sponsors that helped get the kids their Special Games t-shirts. This year featured over 25 stations ranging from axe throwing to catching bubbles or even pony riding. Afterwards, the kids were awarded medals for their participation, something for each school to be proud of.
Everybody benefits when everybody participates, and it is just such a privilege and an honor to be part of here to do that with you today.
For LCTV News, I'm Josh Englander.
On the first edition of the Lowdown, we had the founder and president of Beyond Walls to discuss their upcoming events and the importance of art in the community. Here is the Lowdown. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on the CEO and president of Beyond Walls, Al Wilson. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you're the CEO, you're the original founder of this organization. So how did it come about?
I'm dating myself here, but I worked for a company called Phoenix Media coming out of college, and we broadcast FNX Radio, which was an alternative rock station from where Lynn Arts is. And so that really had me sort of back in the day, and we're talking very early 2000s, knowing Lynn. And then I'd moved up to the North Shore sort of later in life in 2013, and then in 2016 started attending a bunch of community meetings here in downtown Lynn, and they were focused on desires to increase the walkability. So residents and business owners, as well as elected officials, met at the Lynn Museum, and they shared a desire for more public art and underpass lighting, as well as other areas of the downtown that needed more lighting. And so a bunch of us got together, and 28 of us formed a sort of committee, and we worked on figuring out how to bring in some large-scale public art and light the MBTA bridges and light other areas, and that's what spun out of it, was eventually Beyond Walls.
because the murals that have been created, they're incredible, and you can see them from everywhere now. Everywhere you look, there's new ones, and then you had a big celebration when you first lit up the underpass. So kind of, how do you decide sort of where good places are to put murals or who you're going to have paint them?
Yeah, so I mean, in Lynn, there's a designated art and culture district. Mass Cultural Council in, I think, 2016 designated Lynn, rightly so, as a sort of culture and art mecca. I mean, there's so many great institutions here that have been operating for years. Roar Arts has been in existence since 1988, and they've been in their Central Square location since '94. You've got Lynn Arts, you've got the Lynn Museum, you've got all these other entities, and then all these creatives. So our initial 2 years was to really focus on that overlay of the cultural district. And so we chose to work with building owners and spaces there to activate with street art. And then there's these major institutions like the Lydia Pinkham building, which is outside the district, but also made sense. And then like thoroughfares into the city, right? So Spring Street would be an example. So that's what originally had us focus on those areas. We've expanded out there afterwards, but I think Lynn now is sort of in we're coming off of work with the Creative Cities, which is a collab of all the sort of art and cultural institutions and artists in the city. And there's a lot of really good, positive work in the city right now that's being done by a lot of people. So it's exciting to see.
And you've also you've done quite a bit of youth engagement too. Like you've done tours with high schools. You have a whole program for it. So you like to focus on getting younger people involved too.
We do, yeah. Kat Rubio, who's on the team, leads up our Classroom to the Streets program, as well as our engagement with the city. And so she's been working with both the public school system and then after school programs. So Girls Inc., the Girls and Boys Club, YMCA, a number of others, really getting sort of youth and young adults familiar with the work and the meaning behind it. And then there's actual lessons for folks to actually educate themselves on this, as well as lesson plans for educators to lead folks through. So it's a pretty cool resource and one that we're happy to provide.
And you say expanding, you really mean it. You're now in 7 gateway cities, I believe it said, Lynn included.
Yeah, and we're, I'd love to come back on. We're pretty close. We're just not quite there to announce what is our 2023 street art tour. But working in a number of gateway cities, of course, our heart and our home always lies in Lynn. But some really cool folks, again, the gateway cities, they offer so much, right? They're extremely diverse. The food is the real McCoy, and these businesses are mom and pop led businesses where the families are all in there, and it's really authentic food, and the art and culture sort of follows suit, right? So there's always work to be done. They're former industrial cities, so there's often like underutilized spaces that are challenges that we're able to take a creative lens to. But then our heart and sort of our compass always returns to Lynn. So we'll do the street art tour for sure, but we're looking forward to doing more work here in Lynn. And we're here on Union Street in the studio. You've got food from 5 continents within 100 yards, maybe 100 feet from where we're sitting. So yeah, it's pretty special. So and there's some exciting news on that front. Lynn's going to have a restaurant week here shortly. That's pretty exciting news. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
To finally try everything around here, which I keep saying I'm going to try.
Oh, you got to do it. Yeah, you got to do it.
I know it, too. And you're talking a little bit about some of the future events. So did you want to talk about what you have planned or where people can learn more about it?
Yeah, and we've got a bunch of community events. We're doing Trash Bag to the Streets is our cleanup series where We combine it with a mural tour, but we have some really great partners in the city. We partner with the Lynn DPW and the Lynn Police Department. We partner with other nonprofits, but we do cleanups around the downtown. Then we've got a bunch of events happening both in our space on Mount Vernon Street and elsewhere. Folks can go to beyondwalls.org to see these events and how they can get involved or attend. And then Beyond Walls Lynn is our Instagram, and Beyond Walls Lynn is our Facebook, so folks can follow along there.
And you even mentioned before we got on, there's a survey that you're providing that people can also look at or fill out? Or
yeah, every year we do a number of surveys. Right now we've got a survey that's open. We just want to hear feedback from folks that live in the city, what they'd like to see in their city. Our focus again is sort of art and culture as well as design response, like things like the underpass lighting project or taking a creative lens to a challenge in the built environment. All of that work has to be fed from the community, right? For us to understand, well, what is a challenge? What is a need? What is a desire? So the survey is online, and we'd love it. The more people we can get to share their thoughts and their input, the better.
It's all about community engagement through art, sort of.
That's it. We do an awful lot of, it's sort of fun. We do a lot of art-related work. But just when I start geeking out on that and the team starts geeking out on that, we learn of something that's very different in the built environment, right? So, and then that takes a very different lens where, we work with a lot of architects and a lot of engineers and people that are artists, but also have they have some technical expertise because this is actual construction and built environment work, and that's fun too. So I'm not saying I'd love to do another lighting of a bridge anytime soon because that was a beast, but we never know what's going to come up from that. So last year we did Cook Street Park, which was a all new playground built by the community. There was a lot of groundwork beforehand and amazing work by Rick Starbird, the ward councilman, and then Lisa Nerich, who leads up the DPW amongst others. But it was 150 people came out and volunteered, and in one day built a new playground for youth. So this year there's a number of projects that are sort of surfacing as a need, and we'll see what we end up doing, but we'll announce it on beyondwalls.org.
Well, I remember I saw the video in the Cook Street playground, and it was amazing how many people came out. You built a playground in a day. It
was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun, but it's kind of really cool because that playground serves a great community, and that community was having to sort of walk past that playground to get to some of the amenities that some of the other playgrounds had. And now they've got this great resource right there in literally their backyard, and it's for all age groups. And there's also there's a community garden there. David Gass has led that and been very involved as a community champion there. So it's a pretty active space, but I think there's more to come there. There's more work to be done at that playground. Hopefully some new playing surfaces for kids and young adults coming there soon. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Definitely, and you've mentioned, like many organizations, you do a lot of collaborations because there's so many organizations in Lynn that you might have expertise in one thing, but then they have expertise in another, so you can kind of combine your skills.
That's right. Right now we're very focused on working with Lynn Public Schools and the after-school programs here in Lynn, and there's been such a heavy lift, obviously, during the pandemic, and a lot of weight put on these educators, and so absolute salt of the earth people, true pros, and they know this community. They know the youth in this community. They know what they're going through. They know what their needs are. So really, it's for them to, we look to to them to inform us on how we can best serve and partner with them. So that's honestly what we're super excited to do this year. And so there's certainly more to come there. I'd say if you're into this sort of work, get your popcorn ready, because it's going to be a show this summer. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. But yeah, we're really excited for it. And you're right, the partnerships that's where all the magic happens.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm really excited to see what you have in store. And just before we wrap up, is there anything else you wanted to mention or talk about that I hadn't covered?
No, I mean, I think, you know, for us, you know, we always try and shine a light on the different organizations and programs that are happening in the city. It would be easy to miss on highlighting Lynn Community TV. So I've seen the focus that the TV station has put on attending events and coverage. There's been so much going on in the city that Lynn Community TV has been there and allowed folks to see that. And there's a lot coming up, right? So hats off to everything that you do. And then we'll see, you know, not just this summer, but I think next, you know, starting now, there's a lot of groups that are planning on some really big things to come. And so I think this summer is going to be great. The fall is going to be great. We go into the winter, and then like 2024 is looking, you know, I'm always bullish on Lynn, but there's some really good things happening in the city right now. So it's exciting times.
It is exciting times, and thank you very much again for the compliment and for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And once again, my name is Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests. On deck, the sports update. In tennis, the boys team collected another win for English, 4-1. The Bulldogs lost the first singles set, but won the rest of the matches, including sweeping first doubles to defeat Everett. Against city rival Lynn Classical, they won 3-2, with the Rams coming off a tough 5-0 loss to Malden earlier in the week. Bulldogs softball is struggling, coming off 2 consecutive losses to Everett 10-0 and Classical 18-0 on the 10th, dropping to 4-8 on the year. However, English was the victor in boys volleyball, 3-2. They are having a strong year in baseball, sitting at 7-4 overall and 6-3 in second place in the Greater Boston League. Most recently, they scored 14 as the away team versus Everett, winning 14-7. They knocked down Everett to 4-7 with this victory, and only Classical has a better record at 12-1. With Will McCaffrey as the star, not only did he drive in the winning run on a double in the 7th, he sat down Kip 1-2-3 to end the game. This was followed by a 15-4 loss to Greater Lowell. The new volleyball team struggled as they were swept by Salem in 3 sets. An 81-54 loss to Mystic Valley by the girls' track and field team still held highlights for the Tigers, while the boys' team won the Commonwealth Atlantic Conference Championship over Mystic Valley on the 11th by a score of 90-48, preserving their perfect record of 5-0. The Rams baseball team is on a 12-game winning streak, with their only loss coming in their season opener. They beat Medford 8-2 to secure their spot in the state tournament. Almani Medina had 3 RBIs through the 2nd, 4th, and 5th innings, including a single and 2 sacrifice flies. They also had a commanding 10-0 shutout over Everett in 6 innings, followed by another resounding 15-0 win in 4 innings against Medford. 9 different players for Classical got a hit, led by Christian Spates, who went 3 for 3, scoring 2 runs and driving in 5 more. The Classical softball team got a win of their own, 12-8 versus Malden, which brought their record to 7-3 overall and 7-2 in the Greater Boston League. They were again led by freshman Brooke Braswell, who went 3 for 4, recording 1 RBI, 2 runs, and 2 doubles. In their 18-0 victory against the Bulldogs, Rams pitcher Rachel Dana threw a one-hit shutout while also going 3 for 3 at the plate, scoring 3 runs and notching 2 RBIs. St. Mary's softball continued their hot streak, moving to 12-1 on the year after beating Malden Catholic 7-2 behind pitcher Anna Fringuello, who threw 8 strikeouts on a way to another complete game. A tight 2-1 win over Fian gave them a share of the Catholic Central League, followed by a season sweep of Bishop Fenwick with a 2-1 win. They are also currently ranked 4th in the updated MIAA Power Rankings for Division III. On the newly renovated Fraser Field, Spartans baseball defended their home diamond with a 6-1 beating of Bishop Fian and a 9-0 shutout of division rival Bishop Fenwick. We are getting new information on the updated field, which will be included in the next broadcast. Their boys and girls lacrosse team lost, with Archbishop Williams scoring double the amount of points as the Spartans in both games. The boys 18-9 and the girls 20-10. On the flip side, both the tennis teams were victorious against Arlington Catholic, 4-1 in each match. The Spartans were mirroring each other this week as the boys and girls track teams both lost to Fian on Tuesday the 9th, but rebounded with wins over Stang. The girls are 4-4-1, with the boys at 8-1. A 7-4 victory helped the Red Sox win 2 of 3 over the Philadelphia Phillies. The Sox only scored in 2 innings, but they made them count, with a 5-run 4th and a 2-run 6th. Neither team scored in the final 2 innings. This was followed by 2 consecutive losses, 6-1 to finish out the series over the Phillies and 9-3 to the Atlanta Braves. Sox pitcher Nick Pivetta struggled, giving up 8 hits and 7 runs in 4 innings of work. They evened out the 2-game series with the 5-2 win on the 10th. The young talent came through as Ramel Tapia drove in the go-ahead run, coming off the bench in the 7th, and Tristan Casas providing some insurance in the 9th with a towering 442-foot 2-run homer. Kenley Jensen came in to finish the game, making history as only the 7th player in the MLB to record 400 career saves. Their counterpart in baseball, the Celtics, struggled as they lost the last 2 to the Philadelphia 76ers. Boston came back from 16 down on the 7th, but fell in overtime 116-115. In front of their home crowd, they again had trouble containing the 76ers offense as MVP Joel Embiid scored 33, helping the 76ers to a 115-103 win. The Celtics kept their foot on the gas, keeping their playoff hopes alive as they took Game 6 95-86 in Philadelphia. Marcus Smart was the leading scorer with 22. The Celtics held Philadelphia to 13 points in the 4th, with Jason Tatum draining 3 straight three-pointers to put the game away for Boston. Next up on the Lowdown, we had members of the Goldfish Pond Association on to give an overview of their responsibilities in maintaining the pond and upcoming events. Here is the second Lowdown. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on 2 guests from the Goldfish Pond Association, Trish Green, the president, and Ted Smiley, the planting day captain. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. So you told me a little bit about the history of the organization. Started in 1980, what am I saying?
1980, yes.
That would have been
Not
really
that
far
old.
back.
Yeah, we're not that old.
And you gained nonprofit status just a few years ago, so how's that been going?
That's correct. It's been going pretty good. Now, since we have our 501 status, we're able to raise funds in different ways, legally, ask for donations. So we're all up to date with that, and that's been good. We've been able to raise some money that way. In addition to our flea market, which is normally our big fundraiser for the year. Mm-hmm. We operate probably on about an $8,000 budget a year. Most of that money, probably about $5,000 of it will go to Ted here on Planting Day.
Yeah.
And planting day is in a few weeks. It's May 27th.
Yep, about 2.5 weeks from now.
Yes, yes.
I actually picked up my first truckload of plants today. And so things sell out fast this time of year. And when
Right.
you need things in the quantities that we do for the pond, you have to kind of go early and go often and make sure you can kind of at least get something that looks good and kind of cohesive across the whole park.
And Ted is very good at picking the types of plants that do well out there, the different colors that match, the different sizes. There's a lot that goes into it. And we have several beds out there. We have a major one center bed, and then how many?
We have like the big center one, 8 smaller ones.
Okay.
Then we have a few traffic islands with 1 or 2 beds each, and then some new ones, a children's garden, and then the one up on the hill that's for the memorial.
Right. Last year there's a memorial stone for Goldfish Pond. And the Ingalls family that settled there in 1629.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it is the site of the oldest English settlement in Lynn. So there's a stone up there marking that, and last year we planted flowers around it, and we actually got red and white and wrote out the word Lynn in there.
That's
so
really
yeah, so it actually, it looked really good.
Cool.
It really looked really good.
It's beautifully maintained.
Thank you.
I know one thing you said, sometimes people think it's the city that maintains it, but it's your organization mainly that does so.
Right, right.
So you're always looking for volunteers, like people to sign up?
We're always looking for volunteers. So every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock through May through October, we have rotating teams of volunteers that will go out, mow the lawn, pull weeds, do any other type of maintenance out there to make that island look beautiful. We also have volunteers during the week, a couple of older retired men that will go and mow the lawn on the outside perimeter of the pond and the park and keep that looking nice. Painting benches. These guys do a great job. They pick up trash. It's a lot of volunteers. It's a lot of work, but we get great reviews from most people that we're doing a good job down there.
In addition to the volunteering part and getting your hands dirty, working the soil, if you don't have that opportunity at home, I feel like a big part of that group is like the social aspect to it.
Yes.
So it's always amazing if people want to be part of a larger group and maybe they're scared to get in the boat to come over to the island, or maybe they're not able physically to help dig in the dirt or do something like that. But just come to the pond, sit on the bench while the rest of us are working. It's really a nice thing to say hi to a lot of people and see everybody in the neighborhood. Cause, that's kind of what was the genesis of the whole
a real neighborhood feel that you get over there when you're with the group. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you're planting day, but also for anyone who wants to maybe come to your meetings, when and where do you hold those?
So those are on Tuesday nights. We post those on our website, that goldfishpond.org website. They're on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. in the park. And we take over a bench there. Anybody's welcome to come there and give their opinion, and they do, about what they would like to see at the pond or what they don't like to see at the pond. One of the running problems we have at the pond is geese and ducks. And it's overloaded with geese and ducks and people feeding them, and we discourage that. There are signs, don't feed the ducks, but people always show up with bags of food, and it's not good. And what's suffering right now from that is the water quality.
Okay.
So we're really trying to address that. There is a company that comes probably twice a month now to treat the water so that it looks decent. I think I sent a picture along that showed some bubbles in the water. This is the first time we've had that. That's, according to the water company, it's working. It's breaking down organic material. And they say that the most of the organic material is from the geese and the ducks. So we're going to come up, we have a few ideas this year about how to discourage the ducks from sticking around.
And it's not as much that they're there, it's just the quantity. There's so many. For a little pond of our size to be able to handle that, it's just not possible. And so it's kind of what's killing the fish and everything else in there. But,
So
It's a challenge across the country.
It is. It is.
From Boston
yeah.
Common to the bigger
Yeah.
ponds in Lynn and everywhere.
Yeah, the sustainability of it doesn't balance.
Right, right,
versus the other.
right. The ducks and geese are supposed to move on. They're supposed to be here just for a little bit as they travel. But, you know, this city and other cities around have also had this problem where these geese and ducks are sticking around. And people are feeding them, and it just exasperates the problem.
Yeah, you want to tell them, no, this is supposed to be a pit stop at your
Yes.
permanent home.
Move
Keep
on.
going.
Yes.
We do have the friendly turtle, though, we were talking about.
Yeah, there's-
Right after our planting day, when we spent all this effort and time planting, the turtles love freshly planted beds. And usually the first moon after planting day, one of the bigger turtles will come out onto the island and go into the center bed, traipse across all the flowers that we just planted, and lay its eggs. It's kind of a cool process because it happens every year.
Yeah.
And then it goes back in the water, and you know that's how we
She-
have so many turtles.
She goes
That's
back
true.
in the water. She's laying eggs.
But when you go to the pond, you don't see as many fish now because of the water quality, but you do see the turtles in a great abundance around the pond. It's kind of cool to see just
That would-
flowers and turtles on the sun.
We get that question a lot. There are fish in there. There are fish in there, so.
Hence the name.
Hence the
right?
name
Yeah.
Goldfish Pond.
That's how it all started.
Because I didn't realize they were snapping turtles in there either. I might have maybe
Yes.
known there were turtles, but I didn't realize that's what they were.
Yeah, snapping turtles. According to one of our members who did a research paper on all the turtles, there were about 8 different species of turtles in there.
there's
Wow.
Yes.
There's a lot of little guys in there.
Well, and he seemed to think it was that people would have bought a turtle for a pet, and then they don't want the turtle anymore, and they just bring it down to Goldfish Pond and toss it in. We do know that people bring their goldfish down
Isn't
and
that
do
how
that same
the
thing.
names came to the pond, or is that
Yes.
folklore?
Yes.
Yeah. She's a historian too. She knows everything about the history of the pond. So.
She does. She knows the background.
Yeah.
And I'll have to ask too, you know, this Goldfish Pond, you have the island. How do you get out there with the plants?
With a boat. Okay,
you have a
most of
boat.
the work we do is with a rowboat that we do have. And it's manageable for people that aren't afraid to maybe tip in once in a while. I've fallen in once in the last few years. Ted, how about you?
Oh, yeah.
No? Okay, good for you. Yeah, good. But we also, on planting day, will arrange for scaffolding to be put over to the island. There is a halfway point where we can drop some scaffolding. We're not sure we're going to do that this year. We're going to judge it on volunteers that will come hopefully this Saturday to help. If you want to come and volunteer this Saturday to turn over the beds. So all the beds that we were just talking about, we're going to shovel them and turn them over and get them ready for planting day so the soil's nice and soft.
And if we do have a good amount of volunteers, we might try to put a few things in the
Right.
plant it early.
Yeah.
Knowing that on one specific day, it's hard to get a ton of people, but if you kind of spread it out, then we do it a little bit. So show up
Yes.
Saturday.
Yeah, so
And planting
show up
day.
Saturday and go for planting day.
So we talked a little bit about maintenance. You do a lot of that over the summer. So how does that usually work?
We, with our volunteer list, split up into 3 different groups. So say I'm on Team A, Ted's on Team B, there'll be another Team C, and we'll rotate that throughout the summer. So I probably go out to the island about 6 times.
Wow.
Which isn't a lot, you know. You travel. We
Yeah, you miss some.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. We're not
yeah.
But I would say when you're volunteering on these Saturday mornings, kind of like halfway through the summer and on, when the plants are all blooming and you go out on a Saturday morning, most of the neighborhood's still asleep. But the bees and the bugs are all out, and the butterflies and the flowers are blowing in the wind, and it's quiet and peaceful. It's really just
It's really
unbelievable
nice.
to
Yeah.
be out there, just to be there. You know.
That's my favorite part is maintenance on Saturday mornings. Running meetings is not my favorite part at all. Just being out there doing the work, I like that. Yeah.
You love being involved with it. And you said you're from Lynn. Ted, you're
Yes.
not, but you got involved in it too. So you both have pretty extensive histories with it.
Yeah, so the organization's been around since 1980. Gerard Dewan was a neighbor, and he created the organization and got everybody involved. He really had a dynamic personality, knocking on doors, getting everybody to come on out. You know, he'd have a wheelbarrow, and I'm sure that Ted got roped in by him too, didn't you?
Knocking on a door. Hey.
Yeah.
Come on out.
Yeah, so we all got roped in by him, and it's a great organization. It's one of the I'd say longest standing neighborhood organizations in the city of Lynn. And we have a focus though, and our focus is Goldfish Pond and making it beautiful. And that's what we do.
As I said, you do a very, very nice job
Thank
of it. I drive by it every day on my way to work, and I love looking at it. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And before we wrap it up, as we do have to, is there anything else that you wanted to mention, or any other things?
Planting Day.
Planting Day, May 27th, 9 a.m.
Goldfishpond.com.
Goldfishpond.org. Goldfishpond.org is our website for any information that you have, if you want to go take a look. We also have Facebook, and you can go to Facebook, and there's a million pictures there about the pond and what's been going on, and all of our events are posted there.
And really, the Planting Day kind of kicks off the season, because you have Children's Planting Day that follows up in a couple of weeks with their own special garden. Then we have the Arts Festival that was kind of blew it out of the park last year. It was so good. And so many people have been looking forward to coming back for that. Movie nights, the flea market fundraiser in the fall. And it's really just kind of like something you don't see too often anymore. It's a really fun experience.
And we put out a fall decoration. Gerard's the one who came up with the idea of the giant pumpkin.
You used to have a pumpkin? Yeah.
Yes, and there were several pumpkins over the years. And last year we had a ghost.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, and then there's always a holiday tree at Christmas, at Christmas time. Yeah.
You got everything going on. It's always happening.
Yeah, there's always something there.
I want to thank you again for coming on to talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Now, the community calendar. Wednesday the 17th, beginning at 4:30 p.m., there will be an early literacy night. Taking place at Manning Field and hosted by the REAL program, families and children can come to be introduced to literacy at a young age. There will be free books, activities for kids, and storytelling. The rain date, if needed, is the next week, May 24th, at the same place and time. The Lynn DPW is having a trash and recycling car repair day on Saturday, May 20th, beginning at 8 a.m. It is on a first-come, first-served basis where missing carts will be replaced and existing damaged carts will be fixed. This includes repairs to the lids, wheels, and axles, as well as giving people who need them new carts for no charge. The event runs until noon or as long as supplies last. Raw Artworks is hosting a series of events, starting with a film screening on Tuesday the 23rd. 5 p.m. is the red carpet call for filmmakers, with friends and family arriving at 5:30 and the screening running from 6 to 8 p.m. The event is taking place at the Lynn Auditorium, 3 Central Square. That is all the news for this week. To learn more about our news, community calendar, and events, go to lyntv.org. Also, visit Lynn Community Television on YouTube for our latest videos and content. Follow on social media at Lynn Community Television to keep up to date on all the latest happenings in the city. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.